In every room, there's always one or two people who, when they walk in, the atmosphere shifts. People automatically turn to listen when they speak. The best opportunities tend to find them first. Money, connections, influence, everything flows toward them while you're fighting for every scrap. You work harder than most, you try to build good relationships with everyone, your skills aren't bad at all, yet somehow you feel like you're standing behind an invisible glass wall. You can see their world, but you can't touch it. I know exactly how that feels because I used to believe that if I was just good enough and skilled enough, everything would eventually come to me, until one day I discovered a truth that nobody wants to admit. Powerful people don't lack friends, they lack people who can help them achieve something. Sounds pragmatic, doesn't it? But that's exactly how the world operates at the higher levels. And once you accept this reality, instead of hoping for a fairer world, everything becomes clearer and navigable. In this content, I'll walk you through 13 principles from Machiavelli, the master of power dynamics from 500 years ago, presented in a brutally honest way that you'll never find in textbooks or typical soft skills courses, because they exist in the gray zone between psychology and power strategy that few dare to speak openly about. Pay special attention to principle number 7 as it's absolutely critical, because without it, the other 12 principles won't work. Before we begin, I'm curious, what city are you watching this from? Drop a comment below. I want to know where people interested in this topic are on the map. Now, let's dive in.
Principle 1. Never outshine the master. The first mistake most people make when meeting powerful individuals is trying to impress. You want to show them how smart you are, how capable, how knowledgeable. You think that's how you earn respect, but it's not. Powerful people are often fragile in one aspect. Their ego is built on being the smartest, most visionary person in the room. When you shine too brightly, you don't look like an asset, you look like a threat. So the strategy here isn't to dim your light, but to know how to redirect it to make them shine brighter. When you present an idea, package it in a way that makes them feel like it's their idea. Feed their ego. This is the art of camouflage to get yourself inside the walls. But more importantly, you need to keep them unable to predict you.
Keep your true intentions hidden. A predictable person is a controllable person. If I know what you want, I know how to use you. If I know you need money, I can buy you. If I know you crave recognition, I can flatter you. Most people approach powerful individuals with eyes that scream, "I need something from you." And that scent of desperation is the strongest repellent. To connect with power, you must become an enigma. When you enter the room, don't rush to talk about business or your agenda. Talk about art, philosophy, their hobbies, the wine on the table. Anything that makes the encounter feel natural. Let them wonder why you're there. Mystery creates attraction. When they can't figure out what you want, they become absorbed in decoding you. Be friendly, open, charming, but keep your true motives locked in a vault where no one can see. Principle 3. Speak to interests, not to mercy. This is where good people fail. You need a mentor, an opportunity, an investment, so you approach a powerful person and tell them your sob story. You talk about your struggles, about how much you deserve a chance. You appeal to their kindness, their compassion, their morality, and they might smile, might nod, but they'll do nothing. Why? Because mercy is a burden. Powerful people are constantly busy and bombarded by people asking for help. If they helped everyone who deserved it, they'd go bankrupt financially and energetically. So don't beg for favors, propose a transaction, but disguise it as an alliance. Find out what they need. Do they have a competitor to deal with, a problem they can't solve, a project that's stalling? Position yourself as the solution to their pain. When talking to them, don't talk about your needs, talk about their interests. Self-interest is the only universally understood language. Principle 4. The art of strategic absence. We're living in an age of over-availability. You respond to messages instantly, you agree to every meeting, you're always there. You think it shows dedication, but actually it signals low value. Economic laws apply to human behavior. Scarcity creates value. If you're always available, you're common, and common things are cheap. Powerful people respect time because it's the only resource they can't buy more of. If you give your time away easily, you're telling them it has no value. So learn to withdraw. When you're present, be fully engaged. Make them feel like they're the only person in the world. Then disappear. Don't pick up on the first ring. Don't be free for coffee next Tuesday. Have your own life, your own mission, your own schedule that doesn't revolve around them. This creates two effects. First, it proves you're a person of value with other options. Second, it creates the Zeigarnik effect, an open loop in their mind. Your absence occupies space in their head, and when you return, your presence is treated as a reward, not an obligation.
And now we come to the part that many people overlook, how to make yourself indispensable to them. This is what separates temporary players from irreplaceable ones. If they can post a job listing on LinkedIn and find someone to replace you, you're in danger. You need to weave yourself into the fabric of their success in such a way that removing you would shake everything. Find a task they hate doing but is essential to their survival, then master it. Hold the relationships with clients they cannot afford to lose. Become the bridge between them and something they want. If you're the bridge, they cannot burn you. And don't teach them how to do what you do. Keep that skill esoteric. The more they depend on you for their peace of mind, the more power you have. The goal isn't independence, it's mutual entanglement. You want them to wake up at 3 a.m. thinking, "My God, what would I do if this person left?" When you achieve that thought in their mind, you've won. But to reach that point, you need to control something that few people pay attention to. The person who writes the menu holds the power. The most powerful person in the room isn't the one barking orders. It's the one who designs the choices. When you present options to a powerful person, don't give them countless alternatives. That causes decision fatigue. Curate the options. We can do A with risk X, or do B to achieve Y. Frame the choices so that the option you want them to pick is the only logical one. This is the illusion of control. You let them make the decisions so they feel like a king, but you've built the road they're walking on. Don't ask open-ended questions like, "What do you want to do?" That's lazy. Instead say, "Here are 3 directions I recommend. The second one is strongest. What's your decision?" You're doing the thinking, they're doing the authorizing. You're the architect, they're the signatory. To do this effectively, you need to understand something deeply that most people don't realize. Principle 7. Become their emotional transmitter. Powerful people are individuals living in a state of high stress. They carry empires, employees, and assets on their shoulders. Their inner world is often a storm of anxiety and pressure. Most people add to that storm. They bring problems, drama, urgent emails. To stand out, you must be the calm. You must be the emotional anchor. When they panic, you slow down. When they rage, you remain steady. You must learn to transmute their energy, absorb their chaos, and reflect back clarity. I understand the problem. Here's the solution. It's handled. Those 3 words, "it's handled," are the most seductive words you can speak to a powerful person. You're lifting the weight off their shoulders. You become a sanctuary. They'll start craving meetings with you, not because of the work, but because of how you make them feel. You make them feel safe, make them feel in control. In a world of noise, be the silence. In a world of fire, be the water.
Principle 8. Become the perfect mirror. Everyone loves themselves. Even leaders who appear humble are secretly obsessed with their own worldview. They want to be understood, want validation of their reality. Most people try to connect by talking about themselves. I did this, I think that. That's just noise. To connect with power, you must become a mirror, reflecting their image but slightly enhanced. If they speak fast and decisively, you speed up your speech, adopt their posture. If they're slow and thoughtful, you slow down, become pensive. Match their breathing, their vocabulary. If they use war metaphors, you use war metaphors. If they use sports metaphors, you use sports metaphors. This isn't just simple mimicry, this is neurological synchronization. When you mirror someone effectively, their subconscious labels you as like me. That person is like me, therefore I can trust them, therefore they're smart. You're bypassing their logical brain and speaking directly to their reptilian brain. People don't want to be challenged, they want to be confirmed. Be the confirmation of their brilliance. But don't just be a mirror, be the supplier of what they lack most.
Principle 9. Monopolize the channel of secret information. In the old world, land was power. In the modern world, information is power. But not just any information, secret information. Powerful people are often isolated. They're surrounded by people who only tell them what they want to hear. They're starving for truth, starving for the pulse of the streets. If you can become the person who brings them valuable, unfiltered intelligence, you become indispensable. You become their eyes and ears. Did you hear what the competition is planning? I discovered a flaw in the system that nobody's telling you about. There's a shift in the market you need to know about. Don't be a gossip, be an intelligence operative. Curate information to protect them or give them an edge. When you trade in secrets, you elevate your status. You're no longer an outsider, you're a co-conspirator. And there's no bond stronger than the bond between co-conspirators. But remember, never reveal all your sources. Maintain the monopoly on your information supply. If they can get the information without you, they don't need you anymore.
Nothing bonds two people faster than a shared enemy. Sociologists call this in-group, out-group bias. We like people who hate the same things we hate. If you want to connect with a powerful person, find out what they despise. Do they hate inefficiency, hate bureaucracy, hate a specific rival philosophy, hate the status quo? Align yourself with that hatred. Validate their frustration. I can't believe how mediocre this industry has become. Exactly what you've been saying. When you validate their enemy, you validate their struggle, validate their heroism. You're saying, I see the dragon you're fighting, and I'm here to hand you the sword. In the trenches of that imaginary war, deep loyalty is forged.
Principle 11. Play a role in the theater they've written for themselves. People don't live in reality. They live in the fantasy of who they want to become. The ruthless CEO wants to see himself as a benevolent father figure. The chaotic artist wants to see herself as a disciplined visionary. The insecure politician wants to see himself as a savior. Your job is to identify their fantasy and play the supporting role. If they want to be the wise teacher, you become the eager student. Ask them for advice. Let them lecture. Let them feel wise. If they want to be the rebel, you become the accomplice. If they want to be the king, you become the loyal knight. Don't force them to face their reality. Reality is painful, and that's why they have money to insulate themselves from it. If you're the only person supporting their delusion, they'll protect you with their life, because if you leave, the fantasy crumbles. You become the prop holding up their self-image. Sound manipulative? It is. But remember, we're not talking about friendship. We're talking about connecting with power, and power is a stage.
And finally, there's one principle that without it, all the rest become meaningless. When you don't need them, you have everything. This is the final and most important paradox I promised from the beginning. To connect with powerful people, you must not need them. If your soul depends on their approval, they'll smell it. They'll smell the hunger and treat you like a fan. True power recognizes true power. You must cultivate a sense of radical autonomy within yourself. You must have your own kingdom, however small. You must have your own code, your own vision. You must be willing to walk away from the deal. The person willing to walk away holds all the leverage. When you sit across from a billionaire, you must know deep in your bones that you'll be fine without them. You're not there to beg, you're there to exchange. This energy shift changes everything. Your voice drops an octave, your eye contact holds a second longer, you stop fidgeting, you become solid. Powerful people are lonely because everyone around them bends to their will. When they meet someone solid, someone who respects them but doesn't worship them, they're fascinated. Be the rock, be the sovereign of your own mind. Connect from a place of wholeness, not from a place of lack.
Now look around you. Look at the structure of your company, your government, this society. Do you think they were built on transparency and encouraging pats on the back, or were they built on strategy, leverage, and deep understanding of human nature? These principles are keys. This level of psychological mastery isn't a destination, it's a daily practice. And if this video touched something in you, if it made you see more clearly the game you care about, then hit subscribe. Not to support the channel, but to make a contract with yourself, a signal that you're done being a spectator. Because what I'm sharing here is just the surface. There are deeper layers about power psychology, about reading people, about navigating complex relationships that I'll continue to explore in upcoming videos. The only question left is, do you want to keep being a chess piece, or are you ready to become the chess player? The choice is yours, always yours. See you in the next video.